The Anglo-Egyptian Darfur expedition of 1916 was a military operation by British Empire and the Sultanate of Egypt, launched as a preemptive invasion of the Sultanate of Darfur. The Sultan of Darfur, Ali Dinar, had been reinstated by the British after their victory in the Mahdist War, but during the First World War he grew restive, refusing his customary tribute to the Sudanese government and showing partiality to the Ottoman Empire. In 1915, Sardar Reginald Wingate then organized a force of around 2,000 men, under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Philip James Vanderler Kelly. The force entered Darfur in March 1916 and decisively defeated the Fur army at Bering Year and occupied the capital El Fasher in May. Ali Dinar had already fled to the mountains, and his attempts to negotiate a surrender were eventually broken off by the British. His location becoming known, a small force was sent after him and the Sultan was killed in action in November 1916. Subsequently, Darfur was fully annexed to the British administration of the Anglo-Egyptian Sudan and remained part of Sudan upon its independence. Background: in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Darfur, which means "land of the fur," was an independent country located to the west of Sudan and east of what was then French Equatorial Africa. It is equal in size to France and can be divided into three regions. A semi-arid region in the north, with very little rain, joining the Sahara Desert. A central region divided in two by the Jebel Mara volcano, which rises 10,000 feet above sea level, that is surrounded by sand and rock plains to the east and west, and a southern region which has a rich alluvial-type soil and a heavy annual rainfall. The Sultanate of Darfur was one of the kingdoms that stretched across the center of Africa. In 1874, it was invaded by its Islamic neighbors from the south, which resulted in the country being annexed by Egypt and joined with Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. This lasted until the Mahdist War, when Anglo-Egyptian suzerainty was temporarily curtailed by the forces of Muhammad Ahmad, until Anglo-Egyptian control of the region was re-established following the Battle of Omdurman on 2 September 1898. In 1899, Ali Dinar became the Sultan of Darfur with the approval of the then Sardar Lord Kitchener, on the condition that he paid an annual tribute to the British. Relations between Dinar and the Anglo-Egyptians were assisted by the Inspector General Rudolf Karl von Slaten, who had knowledge of the Darfur region and its people. The status quo remained until disputes started over what was Darfur's exact western boundary and who had overlordship over its frontier districts. The British believed the delay in resolving these disputes, along with anti-government propaganda, led to a change in Dinar's attitude towards them. Their beliefs were not helped by Dinar's refusal to allow any Europeans to enter Darfur. Dinar's domestic policies caused internal unrest among the Arab portion of the population, who were generally against him, or in the case of the Riziga tribe from the southwest Darfur, openly hostile. On hearing the news of war between the British Empire and Turkey, Dinar became more defiant and in April 1915 renounced his allegiance to the Anglo-Egyptian Sudan government, declaring himself pro-Turkish and making contact with them via the Senasa. At the time, Darfur had a population of just under 1 million, controlled by what was described as a slave army of about 10,000 men. By December, affairs had deteriorated to such an extent that a small unit from the Egyptian Camel Corps was dispatched to protect trade at Nahud, and at the same time act as a warning against Dinar's proposed offensive against the Riziga tribe. Dinar instead countered the deployment of the Camel Corps detachment by moving his own troops, 40 cavalry and 90 infantry, to reinforce Jebel el Hela. However, by then the British believed he was preparing for an invasion of Sudan.